I didn't prepare for this video. And by that I mean, like, I didn't make notes or anything, and then I also didn't think about my introduction. So I felt like the best way to introduce myself. Um, I want to talk about food and shopping at Pondy, but then also talk about food here because, why not? So we stayed at the Accord Puducherry. So the Accord is like the hotel name, and then Puducherry is the location. So the Accord in Puducherry. Um, and there's always like a restaurant. I and by always I mean I've been to two hotels in India, and so I have 2 points of reference for this. And in both cases, there's a restaurant in the lobby or right off the lobby that does like breakfast buffets and stuff like that, and you can get like a dinner buffet there. It's always a buffet. And so we did breakfasts there, which is actually kind of cool because like it was mostly the same. Normally here I do just like fruit and yogurt in the morning, and sometimes I get like one of those little mini muffins because I try and go light on breakfast. Um, because I want to like explore and try different things or have a lot of options for like lunch and or dinner. So I just go light on breakfast and I just have fruit. But when we were there, they had bacon. Well, they said ham, but it was like the closest we've gotten to bacon since we've been here, which is really cool because vegetarian and veganism is a big thing here. And then because like the two dominant religions are Hinduism and Muslims, and neither are terribly big fans of bacon, so it's just not in high demand. There's like pork sausage sometimes in the morning, but whatever. So the Accord in Puducherry had, I'm gonna call Pondy instead. The Accord in Pondy had bacon. They said ham, but it was close to bacon, and that was really good. Everything else was kind of like meh. And we only went to the buffet there, and the buffet is generally just like a standby, and it was okay. Um, we visited this little cafe on the day we did Saturday, the day we did like all the tour and all the I forgot which stuff the camera was on. The day we did the tour and all the fun stuff, all the exploring, we did go to this little cafe that's right on the beach. That's right in the center of the beach. So the entirety of like the French Quarter has this beachside promenade, and it's really nice. It actually has sidewalks. Sidewalks aren't very popular here, but had these sidewalks, and you could walk along it, and there's the beach, and it was really nice. And then like right smack dab in the center is Le Cafe, and I don't know if it's pop. I guess for Pondy it's a big deal, but it's like a little simple cafe, and we went and we after our tour Saturday morning, which I'll talk about in the next video, because I want to do some research because we learned a lot, and I want to actually like convey that information in like a meaningful and like true way. Um, I want to talk so much about that. I'm not gonna get into it. So we went to the tour, and then afterwards we went and hung out at Le Cafe, and it was really really nice because you're sitting in the shade and you still get the ocean breeze, and it really cools you off, especially when you've been walking around in like the 90-degree heat. We just had water while we were there. Actually, I just had water while we were there, but Jeff and Kara had like weird like soda drinks where it's like carbonated, but then they mix it with like cream and juice. I don't know if it's like an Italian soda, but they had like a couple of those. I think one was coffee flavored, which I don't really like. But anyway, but Lake Cafe was pretty cool, and it seems like you could get like I saw them bringing like really neat like breakfast platter things around. And by breakfast platter, like don't. It's actually kind of like inverse, like sell it down. So it was like it would be like a paper plate or like a disposable plate, but then it would have like this cool like variation on like an English breakfast. So like an English breakfast always has like beans and toast and bacon and then eggs and then I don't know mushrooms, whatever they eat, some sort of weird blood pie. Those are weird. Um, oh, and so they would have a like a variation on that, and so it would have like eggs and toast, and then like a cool like weird fruit, and it was like I didn't like stop. Don't bring their food to them. Let me investigate it. But on the way by, I saw it. So Lake Cafe was pretty cool. A really funny story. That night was that Friday, Saturday night? Oh no, Saturday. So Saturday for lunch. Um, One of the things I had done is I had gone through and I had highlighted a whole bunch of locations I wanted to visit and tours I wanted to do, and I had told Portner, I was like, hey Portner, research food, and he was looking. I was like, "There's really cool French and like Italian restaurants," and I was like, "Neat," because they don't really have that here. They have some pasta, but it's very Indian pasta where they're like, "It's marinara, but we put fish in it." And I'm like, "Why? Do you misread it? It's not marinara, it's marinara." I've had that. It's really good. But it was cool to get to aim for some Italian. So there's two things we wanted to check out. And the second one sounded way cooler because they had like brick oven pizzas, but I'll get to that later. So Saturday for lunch, Portnoy wasn't feeling very great because in the heat and his stomach was still a little weird. So he was like, the tour was really awesome, but I'm going to go kick it in the hotel. And we're like, cool, we're just going to explore a little bit. And then part of exploring was we went to lunch, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go to the really cool place. I want to save that for Portnoy for dinner. So let's go to the second choice for lunch. And it was called the Pasta Bar Veneto. And I was like, we'll get pasta for lunch, and then we'll get that cool pizza for dinner, and it'll be something new and different, and it'll be nice. And we went, and it was good, but it was really funny because I haven't had a chance to visit all the places locally yet, so I didn't really have like a good idea of what was close by. And we go to this place, and we sit down, and it's like, it's very interesting. It's kind of like an open air, like diner feel, where you've got like these booths and this like counter, but the counter is actually a bar, and the booths are, it's very like stucco and like clay feeling. It's very kind of like rustic, and it's very like local. Like it was one thing, and then they made it this pasta bar. And we go and we sit down, and Jeff looks at the menu and goes, "This is the exact same place that's in the mall. It's in the mall." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And so there's like this place on the first floor of the mall that's called the Pasta Bar Veneto, and apparently it is a chain, like it's a chain restaurant. Because we went to Puducherry and we sought out Italian, and we found a place that exists in the mall, which was kind of funny. But ironically, none of us had been there before. We had heard like reviews of it, like other people had been there and like told us stuff about it, but we were like, all right, well, we'll try it, and it was good. I think I would give it a good. It wasn't like great. It wasn't fantastic. I got like penne alfredo, and then I added chicken and onion to it, and it was good. I hadn't had pasta since I'd been here. Well, I had like noodles, but I hadn't had like Italian pasta since I'd been here. And cheese is kind of scarce here because again, with the veganism and the vegetarianism, and then like they don't have like I don't really understand their interaction with cows yet, but they don't seem to have a lot of cheese. They don't have like cheddar. That doesn't exist here. They only have like soft, like white cheeses. So it was nice to have pasta, a bit of variation. And I don't remember what. And Kara got like a lasagna, and Jeff got like a ravioli, and everyone was like, it was good. And then since then, Justin and I have visited the one in the mall, and we got pizzas there instead. And again, it was good. It wasn't like great. It wasn't fantastic. It was nice for a change, but it wasn't like anything to make a video about and post it on YouTube and share it on Facebook. The Saturday night we went to an amazing place. It was super super cool. So we go in, and I was actually kind of surprised. So we stop, and we start walking up to the entrance, and immediately you kind of walk up these little steps, and you have this little walkway, and the door's in front of you, and then off to your right is like this pit. And there's just like 8 dudes in the pit. That's the pizza oven. They've just got this big, like when they say brick oven, they mean literally we took a whole bunch of bricks and then we set them on fire, and now we're gonna cook pizzas in it. So there's this massive pizza oven, and you can just look and you just watch them make pizza. You're like, I'm gonna go and order in a minute, but I want to watch you make that pizza first. And you can just hover over them and watch them make pizzas. And it was super super cool. And we go in, and it's like it's really tight, like little place. And I was like, oh no, there's no seating. And they're like, oh, do you guys want to be on the 4th floor? And I was like, 4th floor? Yeah, yes. So we go up 4 flights of uneven stairs to the rooftop, and it's like nighttime because the sun sets at like 2 p.m. here. Jesus. So we went for dinner, and it was dark, and it was so cool because we're up there, and it's just this open air. I wish I had taken pictures. This open air rooftop seating area for this pizza place. And the best part about this was like, so the name of the pizza place is XTASI, and I'm spelling it, I'm not pronouncing it. So we were talking about like, oh, it's Stasi, or like we weren't sure what it was. Like we were, because I'm used to like thinking like, oh, it's foreign, And so the X is always a replacement letter. Like in Chinese, if you see like X or Z, it's like, oh, that we don't have a letter for the sound that they're making, so we're gonna give them this X letter, and then we'll just pretend that it exists because translations. Um, but we get there, and I look at the menu, and there's tons of puns. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but there's a lot of puns there, and I'm like, this menu is written by an English speaker. I bet the place is called Ecstasy, and we actually someone ordered a titular pizza. Titular, the title. So the pizza was called the Ecstasy Pizza, is what Jeff and Kara ordered for. They got like a 2-person pizza. So they called it the Ecstasy Pizza, and the waiter didn't correct them, which means that he was either used to people mispronouncing the name or it was pronounced Ecstasy. I think it was pronounced Ecstasy. Aptly named. The pizza was amazing. So we're sitting up in this like 4th floor open air. You've got like this bamboo roof in front of above you, and then like a low wall around all 4 sides, and they had like copper pipes that hid the wiring to glass bottles that were screwed into the copper pipes with the bottoms cut off, and then like fixtures put into the bottles. So look, there's this weird post hoc steampunk nightlight romantic rooftop lighting system. It was fantastic, but I couldn't get any cool pictures of like the awesome fixtures because like if I took a picture, I would catch like 30 people, and it's weird to just stand up and just take a picture of a table of people. Like, no, I'm not looking at you. You're not interesting. I'm not going to share you on Facebook. I'm not tagging any of you. Don't friend me. So I didn't do that, but it was this really, really cool thing. So you're up there and you're catching the breeze because there's not a lot of tall buildings around you. So we're like the tallest. We're above like all the buildings around us. So we're catching the breeze, and it's a warm night. I love open air restaurants here. It's perfect because at night it cools down to like 85. So you're sitting there and you're just enjoying your food, and it's really nice. And the pizzas were amazing. I got like this spicy chicken bacon awesome pizza. Everybody loved that pizza. It was actually kind of funny because Portner had ordered. His had 4 toppings on it. It was like mushroom, olive, a meat, and then something else. And he actually got like the quartered pizza, so he had 4 toppings, but each topping was only on 1/4 of the pizza. So he was like, "How am I gonna do this?" I was like, "I'm gonna rearrange it, like make sandwiches, make sandwiches with your pizza." And he did. He like everyone loved the pizza. It was really really good. It was really funny because they had brought us beers up, and we actually felt bad. We had this conversation about feeling bad because like the brick ovens are actually like in like this almost this basement, this like sub 1st floor situation. And then we're on the 4th floor, so they're carrying all of our food and drink up all those flights of stairs, and so we felt really bad. And the guy brought us our beers, and he had brought them on the tray laying down, so they had kind of shaken up a little bit. So he popped mine, and I started to foam, so I started pouring mine, but like everybody else wasn't like on the ball. I was just looking forward to some beers and some pizza. So like they spilled more on the table than I did. Yeah, it's a bit of a brag, but also it's part of the story. And so like he had left, we cleaned up and we got our beers, no big deal. And he had left, and like Portner was like, "Oh man, they really need a dumbwaiter." And I'm like, "I think we got one." Dumbwaiter being the thing that raises levels. I think I undersold that joke. Where was I? Oh, so the pizza was really great at Ecstasy. Then Sunday we had breakfast at the hotel, no biggie. And then we actually went exploring, and we saw like a couple places that had been closed. We got in like we had like a Catholic church and a Christian church we wanted to visit, and we got in there like between masses, which was really nice because I didn't want to accidentally be religious that day. Between the two, Jeff was like, "Oh, I want to visit this place." We had passed earlier, and I thought it was kind of like kitschy and cute, but it's like this French bakery. It's called Baker Street, and it's got a picture of Sherlock. Actually, did I share that? I'm gonna share that on the website that I pictures on Instagram. I want to share that on Instagram because I have pictures of it. But it was really cool because it was like called Baker Street, and we went in there and we got like coffee and these eclairs that were really good. And I loved the whole restaurant because it was like this. It was like the entire restaurant was like a wedge shape, and then every subsequent piece in the restaurant was wedge shaped. The tables were wedge shaped. The section, so you had like this like cold desserts that you could take with you, like, oh, I want a whole pie, and it was like in this first wedge, and then you would go past this like half wall, and you'd go into the second wedge, and you'd be like, this is where you order coffee, and you go into this third wedge, and that was where you ordered like the sandwiches, or if you wanted eggs or whatever, there's like this hot section. So like this whole thing was just like a series of wedges, and if you looked like the bathroom was a wedge, it was just super awesome. And there's this really modern thing, so it's really interesting to see like I'm used to like Indian four-star hotels, and then Indian restaurants, and then like international restaurants that were clearly like mimicking like European or American things like KFC or McDonald's or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels about the same as home. But this is the first time that I had seen something designed, I assume, and so Ecstasy and Baker Street both, I assume by a Westerner in India, because it did not feel Indian, but it also didn't feel American. Both Ecstasy and Baker Street, the cafe, because they were both very unique and very like modern, and like design was clearly taken into thought, and it was part of the layout, so there was like money and time and thought invested into this, and it wasn't like ad hoc, like, oh, we've got room here, let's put a restaurant in, kind of like the pasta bar was. It was far more about what do we want to do here, and it was really interesting to see. And so I didn't take a lot of pictures because, again, it's weird to take pictures of people, of the restaurants. I mean, I took a lot of pictures of like the sites, which I still need to upload, but it's like it's daunting how much work it's going to be. And I have tomorrow off because it's Tamil New Year, which is why I'm drinking. And so I'm going to upload some of those pictures. I'll probably pick my favorites. I'll pick like the top half and put them on on Instagram, and then like the top half of that I'll put on Facebook, and then everything else I'll just dump into an Imager album, and I'll share it with you guys, because I also want to share them with everybody at work. So just one repository. Okay, and then I want to talk about the restaurants here. So in the hotel, there's 4 restaurants. Well, I guess 5 technically. So we'll start from the bottom up. So in the basement, which I haven't visited yet, there's like a nightclub called The Escape, and I can like feel it. I can hear it when I'm down on like the ground floor in one of the restaurants, and the music starts, stuff like that. It's very, very loud. They don't care about your ear health here. Like in clubs and bars and stuff, music gets incredibly loud, like dangerously loud. Like, I don't know if there's regulations on the volume of things in America, but I guarantee you people would call the police about how loud these things are. So they get very, very loud here. So I can hear, I'm not terribly excited to go down there, but I do want to, before I leave, I'm going to go down into The Escape and see it just before I go. I don't even know what the layout is. Then you have the Mustang Bar, which is where I had gone when I had people. Courtney's not really interested in cricket, but when I was hanging out with like Barb and Brendan and Brent and David, the 4 Bs, right? I call him David because it's more thematic. Why didn't your mother think ahead of time? Or father, I don't know who named him. When I was hanging out with them, they liked watching cricket, so we went to the Mustang, which is like the bar on the ground floor, which is pretty cool. It's very comfy. They've got like big chairs. It's very like a social thing, and it's not loud there at all. And then like there's a whole bunch of TVs showing cricket or field hockey, which is like their 2 favorite sports here. I thought soccer would be bigger. It's really not. I mean, people play soccer, but it's a distant third behind those 2. And it's very cool in there because they'll have like spicy peanuts and spicy chips, and then like very unspicy like puffy like cracker things. Think like soda crackers, but like cheesy and then not awful. I hate soda crackers. Why do they exist? They make your soup worse. And this is gonna be such a long video. And then you have Tulips, which is the standard ground level buffet area. It's where we always have breakfast. And then you can also have dinner there, which we do every now and again just to break things up. Then you have Once Upon a Time. Funny story. The first day we were here, we were super jet lagged, and the recommendation that was given to us was stay up until it's bedtime, then sleep, and you'll acclimate that much faster because you'll be on the right schedule. You'll wake up in the morning and you'll have gone to sleep at night and you'll be all right. You'll still be like jet lagged, but it'll get way better, way faster. So I spent like the whole first day we were here hanging out with KD, Brendan's wife. Brendan being the first group, his wife being um, the woman who married him. Uh, and so she was just showing us around the mall, and we did like a couple like last minute shopping things with her because she wasn't here the whole time. She was just visiting for like his last bit, and they were kind of coming home at the same time, but on different flights. So I spent the whole day just following her around, and it was like a zombie movie because I got deader and deader and deader as the day went on. So we're following around the mall, and I'm sure at some point in time I just stopped being an interesting part, like shopping buddy, because I was just like, oh, scarves. Still technically awake, but not contributing. So we got to like 8 o'clock, and we go to Once Upon a Time, which is like the restaurant here, which is like the most like stereotypical restaurant. You know, you order food and they bring it to you, rather than having like a buffet or a bar or a nightclub. And we got there to Once Upon a Time, and Justin and I were out. We were only technically awake. Katie and Brendan were telling us things about stuff, and I don't remember the conversation because I was 1% awake. And we got food. I just got like a prawns for like a starter, and then ate like one of the two kebabs, and I was like, that's enough. I'm asleep. And then we went up. So we were like falling asleep in our chairs, waiting for our food, and so now we call it Once Upon a Nap Time. And then the last restaurant is actually on the first floor, the same level as the pool, and it's like their open air one, and it's actually I don't even know the name of it, but we just call it the Grill because it's like by the pool, it's open air, there's like tiki torches and stuff like that. It's pretty dark, but you sit down and there's like a buffet, but it's only like a token buffet. Like, oh, it's technically like a buffet. Because you just sit there and they just bring you protein starters. Like, here's chicken, here's fish, here's prawns, here's mutton, here's chicken, here's some different kind of chicken, here's a third kind of prawns. And they have like these little, they have these little grills that they bring us. So they grill the prawns over in this thing over here you can watch, but why? And they bring these like little like rectangular buckets with like coals from the grill in them, and they put your like prawn skewers on top, which is super super cool. So later they'll give you one of those, and they'll like refill the coals or whatever, and they'll just add more prawn skewers to it, which is a really cool thing. It's like the in table barbecues, but without the table having the set in. They just put the heater thing on top. So that's really cool. And so we go there. Porter's not a big fan because the only non-spicy things they have are also bone-in, and then you don't have any light. Like, I can just go there and eat prawns for an hour and then pass out. Like, that sounds great to me. Because I really like it out there. And they have, like, both in the lobby area. And then up there, they have, like, these covers. Like, these, like, performers will play covers. And it's always, like, the weirdest like 90s, like it's just ABBA covers with like a sitar and a keyboard, and then no accompaniment, like no lyrics at all. So you're just sitting there like, that's a weird instrument. Is that Dancing Queen? That's Dancing Queen. That is every time they start a song. It's not always Dancing Queen, but that was just my example. Yeah, I should take some pictures. There's actually a food court in the mall. So in the mall, there's a KFC, there's a McDonald's, there's a Quiznos, which I was told not to go to, and there's a Burger King, and those are all. I mean, they're like modified slightly, but they're pretty much what you'd expect. They have a lot more veg options. There's also a Subway and a Domino's, both in the basement. We have to go to the Domino's because apparently they do pizza very weird here. Like the pizza, it's Domino's, but it's very different. But I've been to all the other ones, and they're like, yeah, what you would expect, like the standard with like a little bit of spin on it. But then there's also a lot of like, I don't even know the locations. I've been to like 2 or 3 of them, but they're very like Indian, but they're still like food court locations. So you go and you're like, I'll have a combo, and then you get like a shawarma wrap, a spicy chicken sandwich, some fries, an entire cucumber, and a high five. You're just like, why is this the combo you put together? And then you eat it and it's delicious. And everything's spicy. Everything. Because it's a local place. Yeah, so I should detail more about that. I want to visit all of them. I'm here long enough. It's going so fast. It's already like a third of the way through. I can't believe it. I don't believe it. I have a calendar set up, so I have to believe it. It's my own count. Um, I've got like 6 more minutes before the phone cuts me off. Oh, I didn't talk about shopping. So in Pondy, after our tour, I'd asked our tour guide, who was super, super, super cool. I asked our tour guide, like, hey, where's a place to go shopping? Because I have a long list of people that I want to get stuff for, and I just want to look around. So we had highlighted like essentially a whole road that was like starting here in the French Quarter, and then heading towards Tamil or like the Tamil areas. There's just a whole bunch of shopping, and then you end up at this Grand Bazaar, which we never made it to, or maybe we did, and I just didn't recognize it. But this whole street is just jam packed with shopping on both sides, and I'm a little bummed because most of it is clothing. Like the majority of it's clothing. They do a lot of cotton here, so they have a lot of clothing, and but that's not as fun to buy stuff because they're like, oh, it's a T-shirt. Like I gotta get a T-shirt at home. So I want to find like more arts and crafts, but they had a lot of cool like arts and crafts. Like homemade, like wooden carved. I don't know why, but they super love doing like they'll carve an animal and then they'll carve like a lattice pattern in that animal, and then through that lattice pattern they'll carve a smaller animal inside the first animal, and they do that for every animal you can imagine, and it's always cool and it's always clearly hand done. So I super appreciate that. But we went shopping in these little craft stores, and I found like three things that I had been just like on my list. For person A, I want item A. For person B, I want item B, and I found those perfectly. Like nailed it. And one thing I hadn't made a list, so on my like list to shop for, I didn't put myself. I didn't. I want to buy a chest set while I'm here, but I didn't put myself on that list. And so I'm in there, and I see these, and I bought the two things that I wanted. And I'm not going to say them out loud because they're probably those people might watch this video, and I want them to be surprised. But I got two things that I was like, that's exactly what I was looking for. And then while we were checking out, like I was like paying them, and they were wrapping them up really nice for me, which I'm just gonna like leave them in the wrap that they did because it's like all bubble wrapped and taped well. I'm like, I can take that home. Um, I looked over and there was like this metal cabinet that had a bunch of magnets on it. And at work we have this in our cubes. We have this like upper storage area, kind of like above your shoulder, above part of the desk, and there's like a light underneath. And then so like you have like this thing that opens here, and then on this side, which is like where my monitors are sitting, so it's not, I can't quite see it, I have to kind of like peek around. I've been putting like these like rectangle magnets. I had a coworker who brought me back a magnet from Crater Lake, and I was like, oh, that's neat, I'll put it up there. And then I visited like Rainier, and I visited like Multnomah Falls, and I was like, oh yeah, let's keep adding to that. And so I was looking at this cabinet, and I was like, holy shit. They had like Taj Mahal ones, and they had like other like stereotypical Indian ones. Like, I haven't been there yet. I don't want to claim that I've been there if I haven't been there. And I found like this one Puducherry one that had like the Gandhi statue and the War Memorial and like Le Cafe. So it was like the center of the promenade by the beach where we had been. I was like, that's perfect. I want that. But it did look a little crummy, and I asked, I was like, how much, like dirty, like it just been out and people had touched it and stuff like that. I was like, how much is this? And they were like, it's like 80 rupees, which is like $1.20. I'm like, sold, you got it. And I pulled it down, and they're like, no. And they put it back up, and they brought out like this clean, pristine, perfect one, and like pulled it out of the box for me. And they were like, this? And I'm like, I'd pay like quadruple for that. I didn't say that out loud because they would have been like, deal. And then they wrapped that up for me too. So I have one of those to bring home, and I want to do like, it'd be really cool to have one for Chennai, and then one for the other two excursions, which will probably be hill stations because we're gonna be in the summer, and we want to go north, not north, but up, literally up, like in altitude. So probably go to the hill stations for those. Yeah, so that's me rambling for half an hour about food and Puducherry. Was it 33 minutes where it cuts me off? I feel like I've got like a minute left for half an hour. But I have nothing left to say. Things are going really well. Yeah, I've got nothing. All right, so I'm gonna do some research. I think I want to do it tomorrow actually, because this video takes forever to upload. So this is actually Wednesday night, and then I don't work tomorrow because that'll be Thursday, which is Tamil New Year. And then I do work Friday, but it's like whatever. Um, so I want to do research tomorrow while I'm off, and make good notes so that I'm not rambling for half an hour about nothing. Uh, well, about food, I guess. And then I'll talk about like the tour we went on, and then like the actual exploration, because there is so much cool stuff we saw, and the amazing blending of like French and like Portuguese and the Indian, like specifically Tamil design, and you can see like these weird hybrid. Um, I guess like here's a little teaser about that, was that like in Germany, one thing that I really loved was garage murals. Everyone, it was like kitsch. It was like cool to have a garage mural, so everybody had a garage mural in like the little Otterbach city that my sister lives in, and here it was entryways. Entryways are a really big deal, and it was like the rectangle shape, the arch shape, the garden right behind the entryway, these cool entryway designs. So I have like 100 pictures of entryways, and I want to share them. But if I share them without context, I think that people will be like, "Oh yeah, it's another doorway." But I'm like, "No, no, no! Check out these aspects of the doorway, and let me tell you about the building behind it and why those aspects matter." And I want to deliver that in a good way. So I'm gonna do some research before that. So this was more of like a let me talk for a while about food, and that pizza was dope. I'm definitely gonna look up some rooftop bars and restaurants when I get back to Seattle. So I'll get back in the summer. So it'll be nice to have some open air. I'm a big fan of open air eating. They've sold me on it. You've converted me. All right, 32 minutes of this is enough. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys soon.